Hello and welcome to the performance update for May 9th, 2022. The last performance update I did was in March and a lot has changed since then. I'm starting on the website where you can go to and you can see all the data that I'm going to show you in this YouTube video. I'm going to provide a little bit more discussion as well on what I'm seeing with the algorithms and its performance. But before I do that, I would like to draw your attention or direct your attention to this tab, which is the cost tab. Over the course of performing this podcast, a few people have asked me to either help them or create a course, and with the summer coming up, I have a gap in my schedule with my PhD, and so I considered let's consider doing a cohort-based course for the summer. Now, you could go on the website and check out the course syllabus here. It's going to be pretty rigorous. I expect it to be like a graduate level course where you actually combine theory with coding. And if you're interested, you can apply here. It is going to start June 1st. And so if you're interested, please apply. Now let's go to the performance of the algorithms, and I'm going to go home just to start from a good base. But you can click live trading on the website billiondollaralgorithms.com and scroll down, and we can go directly to the FX Blue account for the algorithms. So these algorithms, as I've said before, were made to pass prop firm challenges. They have a specific characteristics. They run on Forex pairs. There are 18 algorithms, and I'm testing them to determine if they could actually pass prop firm challenges. And typically these prop firms require you to make 15% in a random 90-day period. I've done it before, however, with a lot of luck, I realized that that's how I've been able to pass those challenges. And so I decided, how about trying to deliberately create algorithms to pass these challenges, and that's what you're walking in on, and that's what you're viewing today. So today is the March 9th update. I'm doing this while the bank rollover is happening, so I'm still looking at the accounts as this happened. Anyway, regardless, so the last time I did this performance review, the accounts were down around 2%, and now we could see that they're up 1.1%. This is a unoptimized portfolio, but we can see that the performance is up. And what I would like to talk about just on this graph is the last time I did this report, the algorithm with the 100th magic number, at the time it was down $1,600, and as you can see, it recouped those losses and is almost nearly profitable. And so if you had given up on this algorithm in March, you wouldn't have given enough time to actually recoup those losses and basically break even, or possibly even at the end of the year become profitable. And so you can see that this process of algorithm development and testing is pretty long and arduous, and you really don't want to interfere too much with the algorithms when they're running live. Basically, you want to treat it as an experiment and let them run as uninterrupted for as long as possible. Anyway, let's go to the FX Blue account. So again, if you click this chart here, which is the cumulative profit chart, it could take you directly to the FX Blue account, which I already have pulled up, but I'll click it anyway so that I'm ensuring that it still works. Right, so now we're on the FX Blue account. I'm going to zoom in because the last time I realized that it was pretty small. So zooming in, let's look at some high-level things very quickly. So again, I did the last update in March, at the beginning of March, and as you can see, in the beginning of March, we were in a drawdown. We peaked at negative at 6.2% drawdown, and subsequently we climbed out of that drawdown. Now this is a portfolio of unoptimized mean reverting algorithms, and so it's very typical for them to be highly correlated. I expect them to be highly correlated. I didn't do any optimization or portfolio calculations to avoid putting in algorithms that were correlated. Regardless, we can see that since that video, it has came out of drawdown. It went to break even, and we're now relatively profitable. This is pretty good considering what is happening in the market right now, with the S&P 500 down nearly 14% year to date. This algorithm seems to have, these algorithms aren't doing that bad, at least. So let's go on to some more interesting stats. So on the left hand side, we can see the stats of the entire portfolio of 135 days of trading, total return of around just 1%. Not that many interesting stats, but we do have a very high win percentage that's continuing, which is very common in mean reverting type of algorithms. We can see that these systems are trading a lot of different currency pairs, and it's not really skewed in either direction. However, there is a few more trades on the pound USD and the euro USD currency pair. However, that's I suspect this to be for the pound USD situation. I suspect it to be because I think the one algorithm that's trading the pound USD is very active, which we'll see later. So going down to the risk reward, we can see this very, very terrible risk reward ratio, and again, very terrible average win to average loss. And this is, again, as I said before, this is artifacts of mean reversion type algorithms. These algorithms typically, some people may call them scalping algorithms, but these algorithms typically take very small profits, and when they do lose, they lose a substantial amount, and so they're negatively skewed. And it would be your job to ensure that you balance these out in your portfolio. Typically, you wouldn't want to just throw them all in to one portfolio and trade that. Regardless, now when you go to FX Blue and you now click stats, what you will get is a little bit more granular data of the portfolio. Some of the same information we just looked at, but now what I'm going to do is look at the stats per strategy, and we can see that if we zoom out, going back to the 100th algorithm, again, these are this table correlates to this table of algorithms, and so this table, the green table, is just its 2021 performance, and this table here is its live 2022 performance. And now looking into the 100th algorithm, as I said before, this algorithm trades the pound USD pair, and it does it pretty actively. So 43 trades so far this year with an 86% win rate, which is pretty good, right? But it still has some of those losses it needs to recoup and make its way profitable. Let's look at some of the highlights here. We see that there are some algorithms that are performing very badly. These algorithms in particular, 103, 104, 113, they all have 1.5 to nearly 2% drawdown associated with those strategies, but you can see their win rates are still above 70%. Now, this is one of those things I keep talking about because it's very counterintuitive that you have a strategy that wins a lot, but it's net negative down. And this has more to do with the trading mechanics of risk to reward and the take profits and stop losses on these algorithms. Regardless, now let's you could go through all of this data yourself in a little bit more detail if you want to. It's all on the website. You have access to it. Let's go to some more positively interesting results, which I spoke about in the last update. So if I sort this by winning percentage, and now I'm looking at the algorithms that have the highest winning percentage or have had the highest winning percentage so far into 2022, we see something interesting. So I need to check in on this algorithm, the 116th algorithm, because it traded just once. It won that trade, but I mean, it's, we're in the 5th month of the year. It only traded once, we need to figure out, is it still on? You know, maybe it got disconnected. So these are the things, you know, you need to pay attention to. But the last time I did this update, it was in March, and the 111th algorithm was a very high win rate algorithm. It had around, I think, 92% win rate at the time. And now we see that win rate is continuing. It has a 95% win rate. It hasn't lost a trade since our last video in March, and it is continuing to be on the edge of a good trend, and it's one of the most successful algorithms in the group. And I made a joke that if you were a gambler, you would essentially just take this algorithm and lever it up and try to pass a prop firm challenge with it. And it seemed as though if you had done that, you would be well on your way to passing a prop firm challenge. Regardless, it is performing very well. You know, I'm not used to these high accuracy systems, and as a trend follower with some level of research in this field, I suspect it to see its day soon where it's going to degrade. But it's going to be a fun ride, and I'm going to continue to watch it. The 114th algorithm is in a similar track where it's performing very well on its small number of trades, though. These aren't really statistically significant, and sure, you could say that, but you know, it wouldn't be as fun if you said that, so don't say it. Moving on, let's look at what the 114th algorithm is actually trading, though, because pound cat. So it's actually trading pound cat, which is very weird to me. You know, I don't pay attention to any of these things, but pound cat definitely seems very weird. And the 111th algorithm is trading the Aussie USD pair. Now, a lot of people understand that the Aussie USD pair is pretty mean reverting in of itself, and so it makes sense why a mean reverting algorithm would perform well on it. But you know, this is just experimental proof, I would say, of that. Now, let's quickly go through one or two charts. This is our cumulative profit chart. You can see where we're coming out of that drawdown. And what I want to get to is the wins and loses. Okay, so here we go. So this is the number of winning positions per strategy. And as we can see, the 100th algorithm has a high number of winning positions. Now again, this high number of winning positions generally came after we made this video, our first video. And the first video in March showed that this was a terrible algorithm. It was losing a lot, and it was in a 1.6% drawdown. Now, ever since then, it just took a large number of winning trades, and it is, you know, nearly profitable. And had you deployed this algorithm in March, you would have been riding a wave of success. But if you had deployed it in January, like I did, you would realize that this algorithm goes through periods where it is very successful and periods where it's not as successful. It's generally you need to take the holistic approach of looking at the entire portfolio and the entire equity curve of the algorithm. Generally, I try not to get too excited when an algorithm performs well, because you know, there are going to be periods of time when it performs not so well, and you should take a longer horizon and trade that algorithm even when it's performing not so well, because eventually it will turn around and eventually it will make up for itself. Now, if we look at the very successful algorithm here, the 111th algorithm, we see it only had one losing trade the entire year. I mean, if I had to take 20 trades this year, I'm pretty sure I would have lost 60% of those trades. And so it's just remarkable to see it, and remarkable to see it in the portfolio. And I have no qualms against it. I definitely do believe, though, I will take a gambler's approach and try to put it onto a prop firm and determine if it's going to pass it or not. You know, are we going to get lucky? Are we going to strike gold? Who knows? But the algorithms are here for you to look at. The data is here. And let's go back to the website. So just in closing, the algorithms, on the website, you could go to the download section. You get my first algorithm where I give it away with the source code for my Patreons. The first algorithm I ever developed was essentially a trend following algorithm. It performed pretty well, and then I added a lot more bells and whistles to reduce some of the drawdowns associated with trend following and some of the volatility associated with trend following. But this algorithm still performs very well, and I think if you're just getting started, it's a good place to start. Now, if you click onto the Patreon, you're going to go over to my Patreon tab, where my Patreon members will get access to the 18 algorithms shown here. However, the logistics of doing that requires me to update that algorithm every month. And so if you do join and become a Patreon, just message me and request the algorithms, because I have to set it up to your account and things like that. So the logistics are still being figured out, but I'm open to providing these algorithms for people to test, explore, optimize, and try to get inspiration from. Lastly, again, if you're interested in a course, that will be a cohort-based course. It will be in June of this year, June 1st, and you could sign up on the website as well. And that's about it. So I'm going to continue to watch these algorithms. I'm going to continue to bet on them and introduce them into my portfolio. And I wish you all many successes. Consider joining the course or consider being a Patreon to get access to some of those algorithms. And also listen to the podcast and stay updated to what's going on as I try to build a quantitative hedge fund from scratch. Thank you for tuning in, and talk to you next time.